Hello there. Suppose you want to put some other symbols in your equation. Suppose instead of sine squared KL in this equation it was sine squared theta L. Then now first of all I must apologise to anyone who speaks Greek because I am pronouncing the names of Greek letters the way British mathematicians and scientists do, which is, as my wife frequently informs me, not the way they pronounce them in Greece. So I apologise that I'm going to be saying theta and not theta and so forth, but I'm afraid that's just the way it tends to be done in maths. So I'm in the equation editor, I've got the design tab for equations, and I've got all these symbols here that I could put in them. So I've currently got it, there's several palettes of symbols and it's currently on basic maths, but there's another one here for Greek letters, so I could go through and look for theta like this and put it there. Or if I hover over each of these, you'll see that it's giving me the name of the letter and then in parentheses after that something that will autocorrect to that character. So backslash, if I wanted a zeta there, I could instead, I'm just going to cross that out, backslash, so a slash going the other way on the left hand side of the keyboard, ZETA followed by space. That turns into a zeta symbol. It's really important that you learn to recognize and distinguish between all these symbols, and if you're making handwritten notes, learn to make handwritten notes that make the differences between them clear, because if you're making handwritten notes from a lecture and your zetas and your xi's look different, then your notes won't make sense later. And ones to be particularly aware of is, I'll start a new equation for these, but the Greek letter rho that we use very often for pressure in fluid dynamics and sometimes for other things, it's important that you be able to write that in a way that's distinguishable from a P, and the lowercase kappa, it's important that you be able to write that in a way that's distinct from a lowercase k. And some of these Greek letters have capital versions that are distinct from those in the standard alphabet keyboard, so you can do those by typing, if I type backslash and then use a capital Z, zeta, then capital Zeta looks the same as a capital Z, though it's so we wouldn't use that in equations to distinguish from Z, whereas capital theta looks like that. So you've got all those symbols, but you've also got, if we go down in this palette, if we go back to the basic maths, we've got lots of symbols that we might need in maths, and again if you hover over them then it tells you how to write a version that will autocorrect to them, and in this case there are two different choices. Since I just hovered over the times thing, something that I very often find myself correcting in student work is that they want to write the product of two variables, so they might write x dot y, not meaning a vector product. If you're using a dot, then save it for vector products. If you want to say that two things are multiplied in an equation, use backslash times, and that will turn into a time sign properly spaced, and you could just as easily say slash divide for a divide sign if you find you need to use those in displayed equations.